Hello everybody. Welcome to tutorial number 12. Today we're going to create our a custom equipment which is going to be our evaporator cell for the project. So to do so, first thing we're going to do is go back to our project manager here and create a new 3D drawing. So just go ahead and click on the plan 3D drawing and right click it, and we're going to click on new drawings, and I'm gonna name mine evaporator cell. Why not? Just call it cell. Evaporator cell, and I'm gonna press OK. This should create a new drawing for us. Let's get our view to actually SW isometric. Perfect. Now we have our brand new drawing, and first thing we're going to do as always is create a grid. So let's go back to the structure ribbon, and under parts palette let's create a grid. Click on grid and fill out all the values that I'm going to enter. I'm going to keep all of them pretty much the same. So along the x-axis we're going to have 1 at 0, 1 at 1000. Actually, let's just make this 0 and 9000, because our evaporator cell is going to be 9 meters long. So 9000 millimeter, let's repopulate that, and here on the row value along the y-axis this way. So it is going to be the thickness of our actual cell plus the two demisters on two sides. I want the demisters to be 1000 meter on each side, just so, because it is not a exact drawing, we're just kind of doing a representation for easier visibility. We're just gonna do that. Okay, so I'm gonna make that 1000. So the first one is gonna be 0, then 1000 on the y direction again, and the thickness of our cell is 2000. So the next one is 3000 and 4000. Make sure you press this button, and along the z direction just fill this out. So I want the pipes to be 500 millimeter above the ground level inside our evaporator cell, and then our evaporator is 4 meter high, and then I want 1000 meter on top actually, so that's kind of wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1000, so 5500, and let's populate that, and go ahead and pause your video right now so you can copy this down onto your program as well, and make sure everything else is the same, and let's go ahead and click create. Okay, so now we have our simple grid. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add our first piece of structural plate here, which is going to be on this little face here. To do that, remember, you can only draw on the x and y plane, so we need to move our z, what do you call, axis, either this way where the x is right now, or the opposite way of x. So just go ahead and click on your the coordinate indicator and drag it just like so. Oh, I didn't have my orthogonal limitations on. Let's turn that on. Now it should be able to snap onto it. Okay, perfect. So now, as you can see, my surface, the plane is chosen plane is right along on the, oh, I guess something happened there. I do apologize for that. Okay, so perfect. So let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is create a new layer. Now you guys should already know how to create a layer. Go ahead and create a layer called structural, and let's make the color red. Why not? And I'm gonna go ahead and create a couple more layers here. I'm gonna call it pipes, and let's make this color green. And the last thing I'm going to create is demister, and let's make that one cyan. Okay, so I've just created three layers. So let's make structural layer our current layer, and let's get cracking. Okay, so on this video we're mostly going to work from the modeling ribbon. So on the ribbon, just click on modeling, and we're going to use the box. I have showed you guys the use of box first. So the box, again, read your prompt. It says specify the first corner. So we're going to specify that as our first corner, and the opposite end here as our other corner. Now it's going to ask you to define the thickness, or it might call it height. So make sure your cursor is on this direction, because we want the thickness to be this direction. So we know from the slides that we're supposed to make everything a centimeter thick. So we're gonna make this 10 millimeters and press OK, and voila, that's pretty much it. Okay, let's take a quick look. Okay, so perfect. As you can see, it is a 10 millimeter thick, and that's good. Now we're going to do the same with the other side. We don't really have to change the plane, because we do have snap-on points, and the planes are kind of in the same direction, even though it's elevated, but that's okay. So go ahead, click on box again. You're going to choose this corner, go to this corner, kind of drag it this way, and just type in 10, press enter, done. So first thing we have already done is have created our two plates. Now we're going to go back and select our grid and go back to home, and under visibility tab, hide everything else. Okay, great. Now our plane is already on X and Y, so what I'm going to do, I want to look at this face again. So I'm going to go down to my gizmo and go there. Okay, so I don't like it showing up this way, so if you hover over your gizmo again, you can turn it certain ways. Now it's the way I like it. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, outlines for our our pipes. The first thing we need to do is we need to create a box where we're going to put all of our pipes. So I'm going to create a box around this, but I want it to be one single object. So I'm going to use a handy dandy little command here called p-line, which just means polyline. So just start typing p-line, and as you can see, that's my second option. Press enter. Is going to ask you to specify your first point. So I'm going to just do so. Just follow along with me. There, and close it off there. Perfect. Now we have our first box ready. Now I know a professor said that we're supposed to make them 25.4 centimeter diameter pipes, but for this project it's kind of not the best way to go, because we can't really show that, and it takes too much computer power, and I know some of you might not have that much, and it takes a lot of time to render and what have you. So we're gonna increase the diameter to 100. So so go back to modeling ribbon, and under the draw you'll find a circle command, but there is a little drop down button right next to it. So I'm going to choose that. I'm going to choose the option that says tan radius, which means it's going to draw a circle tangent to two lines and with a specified radius. So our radius is 50 millimeter here. So go ahead and enter that. So as you can see, now it has drawn a little circle there. So just to show you guys exactly what I'm doing, I'm going to go back to SW isometric view. See, it just drawn that little circle on that plane that I was talking about. So let's go back to our view again and turn it around again. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out how the spacing is going to work. So just follow me along. I know most of you can figure this out anyway. So just select your circle, and we're going to go under modeling and modify and mirror it. By mirroring, that means it's just literally what it sounds like. It's going to mirror to the other side. And so first it's going to ask you, if you read your command prompt, is specify the first point, a mirror line. So specify, snap onto the midpoint, kind of drag it down, which is going to snap onto the orthogonal ways anyway. So just press enter, click no on erase source subject. No, that's all we want. Now let's go ahead and draw a quick little line here. And so the way I'm drawing a line here, either you can just type line, or under modeling, draw, there's a line button there. I clicked on that, so I'm going to snap on to the center point of my first circle. Now if you cannot snap onto your center point, it's because your snap on is not turned on to center point. So under the, sorry, in the status bar, you should be able to go and press that little down arrow button and choose center, and make sure it's selected just like so. So okay, let's go back to it. I'm going to draw from there to there. Perfect. So now I have a line. So you know that this is 2000 millimeter long, and radius is 50. So we are at, the line is 1900 long. So we figured it out that with the maximum number of pipes we can have that is equally spaced would be 9. But how do we do that on this line? Well, I'll show you. First thing we're going to do is we're going to divide our line. To do the division command, just start right, div, then divide will show up. First, it's going to ask you to select an object. I'm going to go ahead and select that line, and it's going to ask me for the number of segments. I'm going to enter, why not 9. Press enter. Now we can't really see anything because the points or the nodes that showed up is kind of turned off in our AutoCAD. So go ahead and start typing p type, which pretty much stands for point type. As you can see, now it shows up as a single point. Now I want to see it pretty big here, so I'm going to choose this cross. And now you can see all those little division points that we set up have showed up. So I'm just going to select one of my circles and choose copy. You can either start typing copy, or under modeling and modify, there's a copy button. It's going to ask you to specify the base point. I'm going to choose the center. Now I'm just going to keep on snapping on to each of these points. Okay, I know it's a little tedious. We could have done this with array command, but it's a little bit more confusing, and especially since we don't have whole numbers, it can also create a bit of a trouble. So now we have our first line of things ready. So let's go ahead and delete the lines, and you can either delete all the points, which is easier right now when they're still visible, or you can just leave them be and switch your P style back to just a dot. But we're going to need the P style again. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do again is we're going to select all of this little things here and unselect everything else by pressing and holding shift button and using our green window. Now I'm going to mirror it along here so that it shows up same as at the bottom. Okay, so let's go back to mirror command. You can again start typing mirror. I'm going to snap up to that midpoint first, and as you can see, it just very easily does the mirroring for us. Erase source object, no. So we're going to repeat the same process of dividing a line again, but this time from the top and the bottom circle. So go ahead, choose line again, snap from this to this. Now we know that we have what's the word here, we have 4,000, so, and we have a radius of 50 on each end, so we have 19, no, that will be what? So let me just quickly do the calculation. I can't do it in my head right now. 4,000, oh good God, 3,900. 3,900 is our thing, so yeah, that is 100. Okay, great, 3,900. Now we're going to divide it by 200, so we get 19.5. So we're gonna do 19 divisions on that one because we want whole numbers. Okay, so go ahead, start typing div, divide. There we go. Select the object. We have segment number 19. Perfect. Now again, let's go ahead and copy one of this circle. Start typing copy, specify the base point, and start copying. There, there, oops, we missed one. There, 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 and so on. We're almost done there. Okay, So go ahead and let's delete our points as well. It's going to be a lot of them, so maybe I will try to use my green window to delete as much as I can. Frankly, to tell you the truth, I like the square green windows a lot more before than this very complicated one, which is actually very handy as well. I shouldn't say that. It's very handy, so going to try to select as much as I can. There we go. Oh, shite. Okay, so we're gonna make sure either we forgot to copy this one, so I'm gonna start typing copy and make sure this one is there. Press escape and delete. I'm just gonna do it by hand because apparently I can't do it by modern methods. Oh, good God. Okay, so done. So now the next thing we need to do, we're going to select all of these ones that we just drawn, and we're going to mirror them again. So I selected all of them, but in the same process it selected everything else that it crossed. So press and hold shift and use the green button to choose whatever you want to unselect. Perfect. Now we're going to mirror. So let's go back to modify, mirror, and we want to mirror along this line. Perfect. So we are only going to show the pipes only along the parameter, otherwise there is just too many and you can't really see it anyway. So we're just going to keep it as that. Okay, so our next thing is going to be, we need to make a face, like something to extrude out of. So if you think of extruding, just as it sounds, you extrude a shape out of what do you call a die. So we're going to create our die first. To do that, we need to offset our circle on the inside, so we have a thickness created. So let's say, just to show them easier, let's create the thickness of let's create a thickness of 1 centimeter. I know that's way overkill, but here we're just doing a representation again, so it doesn't really matter. So the thickness, specify the offset distance. Let's go 10. Okay, so select the offset object, so I'm going to select it. Now if you're outside, it's going to make the offset on the outside. If you are on the inside, it's going to create the offset on the inside. Actually, you know what, let's choose 5. 5 should be good. Okay, perfect. So it's done. Now we can start extruding. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our isometric view. Okay, so let's get it as close as we can in that, because we're gonna need that. Okay, so now we're going to use the extrude command. Oh, I just forgot something. I just realized it. We want our piping to be actually in the piping what do you call, layer. So let's go ahead and select the objects and move it, and just from the drop down menu select the pipes. Your current layer is still structural, but once you select something and with the drop down menu go to a different what do you call, layer, it moves the selected object to that layer. So as you can see, now we have our nice little thing on the piping one. Okay, so we're gonna go back to modeling again, but this time we're going to use, if I am not mistaken, extrude. Okay, so click on extrude. It's gonna ask you for objects to extrude. So select the first one and select the second one. Press enter, and now it's going to ask you, oh, it's gonna create again on the regular one, the height. So let's go ahead and enter 9,000. Enter, and voila, our pipe is created. So I'm just gonna move this pipe to our piping layer. Okay, perfect. Now all we have to do is copy the pipe that many times all around. It is going to be a little tedious, but no way around it. So once you guys have done that, we will go to the next video, and I will continue on with this because I want to keep the video sizes to a minimum. Okay, so see you guys on video number 13. Choose.